For the next DIY, we're going to use these large wood dowels from the Dollar Tree. These are the ones that come two to a package, so they're really big. And we're going to make a rustic star out of these, a rustic star leaner. So we're going to need a total of 5. And I'm going to go ahead and stain all these to bring out that great wood grain with some antique wax by Waverly before we start putting this together. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make a star out of these because these dowels are so thick, but I was able to make it work, so I was really happy with this. I've always wanted to make a star project like this, but I've never really thought that I could pull it off. But I just kind of went for it and thought, we'll figure this out. So again, I'm using a sponge stencil dauber and I'm using some antique wax by Waverly, and we're going to stain all of the sides of all of these. I thought the dowel would be an interesting way to do it. I know people sometimes do them with like paint stir sticks kind of thing, some of the flatter wood, but I wanted more of a skinnier star and something that I can use like twine to tie the ends of them. And the only like difficulty I had was the final piece, but I was able to make it work, to make it all come together. I'm going to use mine as a leaner, but you could probably hang this on your wall as well. Now that I have them all stained and dried, I'm going to start putting this together. Now, I looked it up and the tips of a star are 36 degrees, but I don't have a protractor on my craft station. I don't think I'd ever need one of those again. I'm going to try to estimate a little bit here with one of my squares from Dollar Tree. That's a 90-degree angle. So if I can try to get my angle to be like a third of that, I'm thinking I can make this work. I used a dot of hot glue to lay one of my dowels on top of the other. And then I'm going to take some of the twine from the Dollar Tree and tie a knot to tie that off. I'm going to use that same piece of twine to tie around it. So I added a little bit of hot glue, gluing that twine into place and wrapping that tight. I think that the twine is going to keep the star together more than the hot glue did because I'm going to need it to be slightly flexible to make this work to form the shape of the star. At the end, I found it a little bit easier just to glue the end of your twine rather than tying it off. For the next piece, I'm going to go on top. So I went straight across, I went down, and now this piece is going to go up. Again, I'm going on top. I add some hot glue, adding my wood to the top. And again, I estimated my angle the best that I could there. Tying off some twine and wrapping this side as well. If you follow the steps that I'm doing, you should be able to make this work because again, the width of the diameter of the wood dowels did make it a little bit tricky trying to make everything touch and fit together, which is what I was trying to do here. So for this one, again, I stack on top, all of them so far. I've put my new piece on top. This one's going to go back down. So I hot glued that, tied that off. I found that if I wrapped it really tight and then hot glued the end of it, but adding a little bit of hot glue as I go really helped make this a little bit sturdier. And then gluing off the end, just trimming that off. And this was the tricky part, the last piece. Again, I'm going on top here for this piece, and I'm going to be going on top for the last piece. But making it touch is a little bit difficult there on the last one. But since we're going to tie it off, we'll have a little bit of flexibility. But first, we're going to glue and tie down this end. And you can use some colored string as well for the ends if you didn't want to use the jute twine. Like something blue or red would be really cute too for 4th of July. So for this one, I had to kind of angle it up a little bit to make that go back like that. And I hot glued it and tied it pretty much the same as all the others. Now it did make it a little bit more 3D and it's a little bit flexible at this point. A lot of my cross pieces don't touch either, which is to be expected to make this out of the different shapes like that. As you can see at this point, it's still pretty flexible, but I was able to glue at least 2 sets of them together to kind of make things stay exactly where I want. There and there. Those dowels touch, and I was able to hot glue those together, and it just made it a lot more stable. The next thing I'm going to do is just burn off any fuzzies from the jute twine with a lighter just to clean that up. And I'm not going to add anything else to this. It's going to be a leaner. like that. And I think it turned out really cute. I'm so glad I decided to try this. It's a nice large star that's going to look great combined with some of my other 4th of July DIYs. Look how cute this turned out. Just 5 dowels from the Dollar Tree and a little bit of twine.